welcome back to Million Dollar Landscaper Podcast. Now, over the past few weeks, I've been really diving in with a lot of Academy members and digging into their numbers and helping them understand, what's their true cost for their employees, what equipment's really costing them, and how to create an overhead budget. And the reason why they're doing this is because they want to know what they need to charge or set up what they need to charge for clients this coming season. And the Academy members have been going through this, have been like awesome at it. They've been really diving in and doing a lot of work, and it's paying off. They're getting their prices all set up for next year. And I just want to let everybody know, like, that's one of the things we have inside of our academy. We have a coaching available for you, one-on-one coaching. And, if you're really struggling with understanding your numbers and not sure what to charge, check out the academy. I'm not trying to make this a sales pitch, but I mean, it is. People need help.
But that's why we have these coaching calls, is because people don't understand. And that's okay. Like, that ties into today's episode. Today's episode is kind of, just kind of redefining failure and embracing that a little bit, because it's perfectly understandable. This isn't like something you learn at school or that you would learn anywhere. So it's totally okay. And that's why the academy, you can just join and learn on your own and just have group coaching. The group coaching comes in the form of question and answer sessions with Scott.
Yep.
Or you can have that more one-on-one coaching if you need it. It's really up to you. Yep. So there's 2 tiers in there. So if you're like, learn on your own and I'll get it figured out type of person, that's perfectly okay. The courses are in there. But if you do need that help, that's okay also. We really have that because we don't want anybody to get hung up or stuck just because they are afraid to ask questions. We're not those people that are going to be like, well, why do you have a business if you don't know this? Yeah. That's not the point. We're like, no, we want you to know this because we want your business to succeed.
Yeah, and this is one thing I've been telling people too. You have to do this every single year. You have to look at your numbers and plan, budget, and do this every single year. You get a new piece of equipment, you need to figure out what it costs. You add new people, or you think you're going to have to get raises this year, you need to think about all this stuff and plan out your season for this.
Yeah, we have a free download right now that's planning your 2022 season. That'll be linked up in show notes. It's all over our social media. You can find it anywhere. Because in the past couple weeks, all these live that Scott's been doing, like on Facebook and on YouTube, all that is coming from these questions that our Academy members have. We figure if this is what they're struggling with, then other people probably are as well. So we're doing the best we can to get, a lot of information out there to help you guys just from what we're learning from the Academy members. So.
Yeah, and if you're interested in that download, if you're listening on the podcast, it's milliondollarlandscaper.com/2022 guide.
Yeah, it's a great place to start. So, and that kind of leads into today's podcast episode. Because Scott has been doing all of these lives, he talks about going back and looking at the jobs that you did last year. First, you have them look at jobs that went really well, and then you have them look at jobs that were maybe a little stinky. And that's okay. Once again, it happens. But that's why we are making this episode today, that it's kind of like redefining failure. So we're not trying to shame you. You don't look through those to like feel bad about yourself. So we're just gonna, after we have a quick little bit from our sponsors here real quick, we really want to take a deeper dive into just kind of redefining what failure is and how you look at it.
Yep, so we'll be right back.
The only app every landscaper needs. Company Cam makes it dead simple to communicate, document, and problem solve with guys in the field, no matter where you are. Company Cam brings documentation, communication, and liability protection together in one simple, easy-to-use app for you and your entire team. Take unlimited photos and videos, share custom reports, create flawless before and afters, and even communicate and share progress with homeowners with galleries and project timelines, all from your smartphone. Company Cam, the only app every landscaper needs. Check it out at companycam.com/million or in your app store.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com and for $100 off, mention the $1 Million Landscaper podcast. If you want to get the leads you want and turn your current clients into raving fans, then you need to try SendJim. They've created an exclusive offer just for our listeners. If you sign up today, you can get your first month for just $2. So if you haven't already, go to sendjim.io/MDL, where you can get even more exclusive deals just for $1 Million Landscaper podcast listeners. That's sendjim.io/MDL and take advantage of these awesome deals today. All right. We talked about how Scott's been doing all these YouTube lives that are based off of what he's been learning from when he's been having one-on-one coaching sessions with Academy members. And one of the things he's been having everybody doing is going back and looking at jobs that were great. First, you look at the ones that were great, because that's awesome. You're like, okay, I want to look at this and understand what happened to make this great and do more of that. But then after you look at those jobs that went great, you're going to have to look at some of the ones that were stinky, like, wah, wah, what happened? Because you can't just look at the ones that went well. There is a lot to learn from these failures. Because we want you to look at these, air quotes, failures, just in a little bit of a different way. Because I know that in the past, I'm definitely one of those people that maybe had a little bit of a hard time with failure. Like, I would take it pretty hard if I did something wrong, or if somebody's like said, that's not right. Because, I'm a decently intelligent person, have always been, it's pretty successful at everything I've tried. And so then when something didn't go well, like I didn't always take it very well.
Oh, yeah.
But now, I've got a few years on me now, and I've, been around the block a few times. I look at failure a little bit differently. I really look at it as a way to kind of close that gap between whatever my knowledge is right now, like whatever I know right now, and whatever my future goal is.
And I think too, it's just like you said, it is part of it just kind of growing up, and it's not taking it personal. Like, that's one of the big things is, and don't take it hard on yourself. Right.
We have teenage sons, and so people taking things really personally is like in our life every day. They get mad about everything. We're like, no, God, you're so triggered. Stop getting so mad. But so some of that just comes with time. Yeah. But I know even adults that don't take failure very well, and so I just don't want people to be afraid of it. Because we talked about goals a few episodes back, and we talked about how I really encourage people to set big, hairy, scary, monstrous goals that, because the point isn't always to achieve the goal. It's just to learn the lessons on the way to the goal, because then you may surprise yourself.
Yep.
You may do better than you even ever thought, solely because you weren't too scared to set a big, scary goal.
Yeah, you may even get beyond what you originally, like your main goal was,
Exactly, because you're challenging yourself. You're putting it on yourself. But a lot of people are afraid to set that big, scary goal because they get like anxious and like worried. Because just once again, it's that failure. And one of the things that got me to think about this in a little bit of a different way too is I'm reading this book called The Gap and the Gain. It's by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. And in that book, they talk about the American school system. And I had heard like kind of different iterations of this before. I don't know the specifics, but I'm going to just read part of this book, part of what was in the book for you, because it really makes you think. So in the book, they talk about Seth Godin. I don't know if anyone's heard of him. He's an American author. He's got like marketing books, all kinds of
stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So him and others have explained that the public education was actually invented in 1918, and it was to get kids out of working in factories. Because back then, kids even as young as like 7 could do some really grueling factory work. So this education system was designed to train kids to be, better, more obedient, more productive, and, just submissive workers in the future. So the goal of the education system wasn't for kids to become leaders or creative thought leaders or anything like that. It was to become people who did what they were told, and were always looking for the right answer, like this is right and this is wrong. And they never were really taught to think for themselves. So a direct quote from Godin is, "Our current system of teaching kids to sit in straight rows and obey instructions isn't a coincidence. It was an investment in our economic future. The plan: trade short-term child labor wages for long-term productivity by giving kids a head start in doing what they're told. So really think about this. Like, no wonder we're all terrified to fail, because we were all brought up in this educational system where you're taught to just like cram information in and learn it and then just regurgitate it out on an exam. And then you're measured against standards, like state standards, educational standards, the other kids in the class. And that is what's telling you how smart you are. So, because then you're taught, that success is going to look like this nice little path. Like, if you learn everything and you're air quotes smart because you learned all this, did what you were told, and then barfed that information back out and did well on a test, that you'll do well. And then if you don't do that, that you're an absolute failure.
Well, it's kind of like, you get told to, we were, go to high school, go to college, and then get a steady job, and then you're, be good to go.
Oh, that was completely ingrained to us.
Yes.
Yes. Like, yeah, if you don't just graduate and then get that degree and then get a job and work there for 30 years with a pension until you die, that we were told that's the path to success.
Yep.
Let me tell you what, hasn't really turned out to be true. The world is changing. Things are different. Oh, yeah. So, and people, the kids in school, sometimes we're a little bit older. It might be different now, but like you're conditioned away from coming up with your own answers and your own way of doing things, and learning how to self-correct along the way. Because, just a little side note, I see this in our son, our older son. He struggles in math at school. He's not very good at just learning what they are pounding into your head, barfing it out on the test and doing it. But you know what he can do? He can go get the pile of scrap metal that is at the shop. He can dig through that pile of garbage and weld together a trailer that he pulls behind this little lawnmower that him and his buddy have. That's actually like pretty steady.
Yep.
And his welds are really good. All the angles line up. It's not sloppy at all. It's a nice looking trailer. It's pretty structurally sound, and he can just like do that. And that's a lot of math. But do you think that was ever on a test? And I really wish they could teach in ways that would more utilize skills that the kids have.
Yeah.
Like if he could be in an environment where he's learning math in a form that he understands, it would be a lot better. Anyway, that's just a sidebar on my thoughts on education as well. So anyway. I just want everybody to look at these failures in a different way. We're just going to take the regular way of looking at failure. We just take it and just like throw it in the garbage. Because I've talked to our son about this as well. I think failing is more of just doing something and not getting the results that you expected. Let's take it that. Like you did an action, a result happened, but it wasn't what you wanted. And so when you look at it more like that, it's not like, oh, I'm good or bad. You're not assigning any like personal like thoughts or values on it. It's just, this is just what happened. Because we're all trained to be afraid of like not getting what you want or not getting what you expected. Back to the school example, you're taught that if you do what you should do and study and get the work, then you should get an A. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do these things, you're going to get the bad grade, the F. Well, for some of us, it was even a bad if you got a B or a C. So if we bring this idea into business, then it's like, this is why that idea is out there that like, if I just work hard and do great work and do more landscaping, then I'm going to succeed. I'm going to get the A, the profits. Well, guess what? How's that? That it doesn't always work out, but that's what everybody thinks. And, we absolutely fell into the same trap.
Oh, it's just work, get more jobs, and then
because you're taught that is what's gonna that's where the success is gonna come from. So, if you do all of these things, like if you do the right things and you don't get the A or the profits, then you get all caught up in what that means. Like, I'm stupid. Why did I even start my own business? Mm-hmm. It's real easy to kind of get down into like a real negative spiral. So like I said, we're just going to take that all and we're just going to just put that all in the garbage and we're going to just going to have a new a new outlook on anything you do that you would consider to be a failure. So as you're going after these goals for 2022 and you're doing something and you don't get the result you want, instead of this like, oh my gosh, we're awful, this is terrible, I just want you to look at it as success in disguise a little bit. It's success wearing this little ugly failure costume. So all you have to do is take off that little costume and like look for the success that's underneath. Another way that I like to look at this is you go into just full-on Vulcan mode. I don't know if any of you all grew up watching Star Trek. I did the original series and Star Trek: The Next Generation with my dad. Anyway, you have to kind of get in Dr. Spock, like Vulcan mode. Vulcans, they're known for being like very logical. They live by like logic and reason. They don't get into like their emotions. They don't interfere with what they're doing. I know Scott's just staring at me. Scott's like, I do not watch Star Trek. Never did. We had different parents. But anyway, so you just go into this Vulcan mode where whatever happened, it's just data. It's not a failure. It's just data. It's information. And so what can you extract from this information? It's not a failure. It's just information. Mm-hmm. So how can I look at what happened at this data and then make better decisions about it? How can I take a better action in the future? Like, don't get into your emotions of, oh, I failed. It's like, okay, I took an action. I didn't get the result that I expected. How can I just look at that for the future? Is this all making sense for Scott, the non-Star Trek people out there?
I understand where you're coming from. And it's definitely true. You have to look at it in a different manner than just that you failed. Like,
just take the emotions out of it. Yep. This is strictly information. This is data. How can I look at this? How can I interpret this? Like, to look up what is the success? What's the win that is in there? And
I go back to how you mentioned our son. And he gets so mad, like, he gets a bad grade, and of course we get on him about stuff. And he's like,
I mostly get on him because he didn't even try or study.
Well, there's
digress,
that.
But
there's that. But then he goes, I'm just dumb. And he gets this mindset that I'm just dumb. I can't do this.
Oh, you're right. That's his instant answer every time is I'm an idiot. I'm stupid.
No, you're not. I'm trying to explain to him. You look at what and we refer back to him like welding and doing all these other great things he does. But he gets in this mindset, and I see this in other landscapers too. And I'm not saying you have a mind of a 16-year-old, but we do get stuck that way. My dad would be that way. When I would come to him and say, this didn't go well, here's the problem. And I see like, you didn't do this. We should have given us this information. You just didn't give us this information we needed to get the job done. And he would get so mad and so frustrated. And, well, you guys didn't do this. Well, no, you didn't prepare us for the job because you didn't give us all the material list or whatever it was.
You couldn't succeed because you weren't given the tools you needed to succeed.
And he gets so defensive. The same thing with our son. Do the same thing, just get defensive. Well, you can't do that. You have to look at it in a different manner, like you're saying.
Right. So when Scott, tells people to drag out this, the paperwork from the year and find that job that you're like, whoa, we really lost our butt on this one. There's a reason. It's not just to make you feel bad about yourself.
Nope.
Dig it out. Look at it. What didn't go right? Did you not put enough man hours into it? Did your people fiddle around? Maybe they did. Yep. Maybe it rained for 2 weeks straight. But find the success in there. Just use it as information to make better decisions in the future, I guess.
Oh yeah, no, and it goes like you said, or I said with my dad for the example. Early on, if you've heard us talk about, one of the first things I did to really like get our systems in place was adding the materials or the equipment list, what we needed to do. That's because my father wasn't giving us all the tool list and materials list that we needed to get going in the morning, which caused us to take longer to get ready because we're asking for him. So we had to take a different mindset of, okay, well, I took it upon myself to make this list and made him fill it out every morning to be able to do it. And yes, he got defensive about it, but you have to take a deeper dive. Go step back. Why? Ask why. Mm-hmm. And this is the same thing we do when this planning guide is looking at, like you said, look at the jobs.
Right.
Why did this job, we didn't make any profit. Okay, why?
Why?
Well, is it because we didn't make any money? Okay, why? Why didn't you make money? Well, is it because the guys didn't have the stuff they needed? Was it lack of training? Lack of equipment.
Yeah, it's easy just to blame your crews, but there's any infinite number of reasons what went wrong. Maybe you didn't put enough hours in the estimate. Mm-hmm. Maybe, like I said, maybe they did fiddle around. Who knows? Maybe they just weren't trained. And so what you thought was fiddling around was just them standing there because they didn't know what to do next. Maybe they weren't given the information that they needed to keep the job running smooth. So just, like you said, why? Just dig.
Absolutely. And that's...
Maybe you need to get better at production hours. Maybe your production hours weren't off. Who knows?
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that you need to look at, and it's not to, make you feel bad or make your team feel bad. It's just whatever it is, you need to figure out what the problem is, and then okay, how we're going to go from here, move forward, and how we're going to repair it and fix it so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah, find the successes in your failures. Okay, I figured out what went wrong. Instead of just beating yourself up, just be grateful that you found that and be like, oh, this is amazing. I can now use this to make better decisions for 2022. I can set myself up better for the next time.
Yeah, and you should be doing this kind of almost after every single job. This is where you should be doing your job
we realize
costing.
that can get a little hard during the busy season.
Yeah.
But at least be doing it more often than never.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you do one a month.
We have some people in the academy, and I understand. They're, it's only them and maybe a couple other people, and they don't have time to do the job costing. But if you have time, make a few hours a week and just kind of look at a couple jobs.
A couple hours every week to at least look at one or two.
Because then you can look at, okay, and well, I guess I keep having the same issue. Okay, maybe I just need to bump up my production hours or man hours for the next estimate that I'm doing.
Pick one job that week that went well and take one that stunk.
Yep.
Look at the two and look at the difference. Yeah.
Or start working on your, training your team better on certain aspects of whatever it is. Or pull them in a meeting and say, hey, this is what happened in this job. Where did we go wrong? Get them involved,
Right.
So there's a lot of different things you need to do, but it is very important to look at, what didn't go so well and just improve on it.
Yeah. So I think the big takeaway from this is to just train yourself to find the success in every failure. Because really, once you do that, you're unstoppable.
Yep.
All right.
So if you need help with any of this stuff and, not sure what to look at, in these failures, feel free to check out the $1 Million Academy. We can help you out with this. And like I said early on, the one-on-one coaching is really,
that's
very
really where
beneficial.
it's at, especially if you've never done this before and you're just starting out and you're like, I don't even know where to start. But the reason like we said, the reason we have the coaching built in is because we get it. People just, if you've never done this before, it might be something new. You might be a little afraid of it, but that's okay. Don't be afraid. It's all right. We'll get you figured out. So.
No, and then we were just talking to one of the members the other day, and he said he loves these one-on-one meetings he's having once a month with me, just because it's so much more beneficial than just either learning on his own or some other coaching programs they're using because they don't.
Well, everybody's different. Yeah. Some people are just fine with, okay, I'll watch this, implement it on my own, and that's great. But other people just need just a little more help because this is a lot of time just kind of new foreign stuff that you've never done before.
Well, and it's always nice to have an extra set of eyes from take a look at it from different perspectives.
We've already made every mistake that you could make. Yeah. And so you're really like, don't worry about being embarrassed.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, we've already done all of them. So
that is true. Cause I always have, people will apologize. Oh, this isn't, well,
no,
that's
never.
Right.
Do not
it doesn't
apologize.
bother me. No, this is what we're here for. This is what we're going to learn and figure it out. So
absolutely. I'd rather you be mildly embarrassed for a few seconds admitting that you did this wrong, even though we don't care. That way you can fix it for the future.
Yep.
So, all right.
Definitely check out the Academy if you're interested.
Yes. Well, we just want everybody to get set up for 2022. That's really all we want. We don't want broke landscapers because that sucks. So, all right. You ready for your questions?
Yep.
All right. What is, hey, this ties right in. What is something you get wrong almost every time you do it?
Ooh.
Doesn't have to be business. It could be.
Trying to think. I mean, I do a lot of things wrong.
Okay.
I always have a hard time going live. I always get nervous. I don't know if it's getting wrong, but I just get nervous.
Doing the lives. Yeah.
I can prepare for it, and just going live, I don't know, something about it. I'm getting better. I feel maybe it's just me, but I feel like I'm getting better. I just get nervous, and I've always been that way. If I had speech class or giving talks to people, I just get nervous.
I think it's pretty common.
I get better as I'm moving into it, but the initial thing, it's just
right.
I always feel like I get it wrong.
Well, but that's okay. But the lesson here is you do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So I feel like I have not looked at the camera. I'm sorry. Side note: this whole episode. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I apologize. It's because it's snowing outside and it's beautiful. So I am very distracted by the snow right now. So I did kind of just realize that I've been just looking outside the entire time. So I apologize for that. Anyway, back to your next question.
Okay.
Would you rather be the best player on a horrible team or the worst player on a great team?
Can you repeat that?
Yep. Would you rather be the best player on a horrible team or the worst player on a great team?
I think I'd be the worst player on a great team.
Same.
You always learn. Always learn.
Heck yeah.
Well, what's that saying? You should always try to be the dumbest person in the room if you're like in a meeting of
Well,
people.
yeah, that's one of the things I always prefer to be the dumbest person in the room. I'd rather learn. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's where I learned the most stuff from when I've been in those accountability meetings where I'm like, man, I'm the smallest person here, like not physical size, but just like smallest business owner.
When
or
you were in that landscaping accountability group, our business was definitely on the small end.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but it's great to talk to those people and learn from them.
Yep. All right. What's one bad habit you're trying to get rid of?
One thing I guess is I want to spend more time with you guys, my family more, because I feel like I work all the time.
Yeah.
So I need to work
feel
on my
like
scheduling.
I mention all the time that you probably are working too much.
Probably.
That's
Yeah.
weird because
Yeah.
we tell our people not, to try and not to work so much. Some people just have it in their genes. You. So anyway, on that note, thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Check out $1,000,000landscaper.com because we do have that free download, and check out the Academy while you're there.
Yep. All right, guys. Have a great day.